Hey, everybody, welcome to Bod's Mayhem Hour live podcast. It's Friday. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It's Friday. And wow, next Friday, ho ho's coming down your chimneys and things like that. So yeah, I hope he's got something great for me. He never does. But anyway, tired of struggling, all that good stuff. He can bring me all that good money and all that good stuff, you know what I'm saying? So anyway. Want to thank each and every single person that's out there listening and watching right now, and also who also come back and check out the podcast as well. I'm still waiting on my guests, and we're just going to continue and carry on with tonight's podcast, and I'll get everything in as quick as I can and talk about as much as I can here until my throat goes dry. Anyway, um, so Waylon is not going to be with us tonight. He is traveling to Mayfield, Kentucky tomorrow to volunteer and help out in the tornado relief efforts that took place on December 10th and 11th. Of course, an F4 tornado traveled 200 miles and it hit Mayfield, Kentucky. Pretty much just, destroyed it. It's devastation. I mean, it's just absolutely gone. And sadly, there's 71 confirmed deaths. And that sucks. I wish we hadn't had anything like this to happen, this catastrophe like this, but unfortunately it did. They need everything and anything that everybody can supply to those folks. Just your basic essentials, food, water, clothes, shoes, stuff like that. I mean, if you can help out these folks in Mayfield, Kentucky, please do so. Let's help out our brothers and sisters here in Kentucky, especially, and this is where I live at. I live in the eastern part of Kentucky, and to see this happen in Mayfield, Kentucky, just breaks my heart. And not just Mayfield, Kentucky. I mean, there's other places that this tornado hit and caused devastation as well. So if anybody would like to help the Tornado Relief Fund, they can go to Team WKY Relief Fund.ky.gov. Once again, if you want to help out to find out where you can donate anything out whatsoever, you can go to Team WKY Relief Fund.ky.gov. And I hope that everybody will do so. I'm going to go through some clothes here and donate them because, I mean, these folks pretty much lost everything. I mean, everything. You go to bed one night thinking, hey, everything's going to be cool. We're going to wake up next morning, nothing's going to change. And then, like, overnight devastation. You lose everything. It just shows you how fragile life can be. And tomorrow's never granted, and 15 minutes is never granted. So, yeah, my heart goes out to my brethren and family and friends in Mayfield, Kentucky. So let's everybody help them out as much as we can. So, like I said, Waylon is going to be traveling down there tomorrow to help out. So he's not going to be on the podcast tonight. I'm going to talk, as much as I can. I'm definitely going to review the Brighten album from Alice in Chains guitarist and backing vocalist, Jerry Cantrell. We're going to go over here in just a few minutes. Still waiting on Silent Horror to be in here. I don't know what the deal is. They'll be here hopefully soon before I end this podcast. So, well, we'll see. Let's just go on over the Brighten review. So, if anyone has any questions for me, come on in here.
Are we
Hello?
in? Are we?
Yes. You're grounded.
Oh my God.
Bam. No.
We are terrible at technology, apparently.
I think everybody is.
I think what I realized is when you said that I have to copy it and actually paste it into the browser, I didn't think that I'd have to.
Brent, smack him. Get him. Go, Brandall.
Hey, I try.
That's right. I'll give you that. I'll give you effort. So I was talking about the Mayfield, Kentucky tornado that happened here. And I want to challenge everybody who's out there listening. go help these folks out. I mean, just donate anything. You know, a case of water, the essential stuff like toothpaste, toothbrushes, socks, you know, shoes. Just, I don't mind. It doesn't matter what size shoes you get. Just get them, take them, donate them. These folks need it. You know, so and especially at Christmas time, I just it breaks my heart again. So Brandall's having technical problems still.
I'm trying to figure it out. I'm terrible.
If you did the sideways thing, it was perfect. I can see you both perfect.
Okay.
I can see you right now, but there you go.
Then I can't see you.
We lose the screen.
We lose all the screen.
Oh, you got to see me.
Oh my God. How am I going to see you? I need to see you. Look at me.
Oh no, he's panicking.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
This is going to blooper reel for 20
Oh my God. Here we are. I got it.
Yeah. Yeah. If I had like a cheering thing, I'd play it, but I don't have it.
Oh, damn.
So without further ado, after 50 minutes late, no, I'm just kidding. We got Brandall Rector and Brent Hajny of Silent Horde. I hope I said your last name correct, Brent. So
yeah,
good deal. Because Brandall said this is how you pronounce it. Thank you, Brandall. I appreciate that. Because I didn't screw it. Trust me.
yeah.
How have you been, man?
Doing good actually. You know, taking day by day and just enjoying life as much as I can. You know, that's about it for right now. You know.
Yeah.
What about you guys? What are you guys up to these days? How you guys been through all this pandemic crap? Been working on anything whatsoever?
I mean, we did. How long has it been? Like 10 years since we've had a pandemic.
Yeah.
No, we. I think right at the beginning of the pandemic, did we put out Silver Screen?
Yep.
Just
well,
before.
that was
about 6 months before.
It's 2019 that come out. Yeah, it was an October release, wasn't it? Yeah, October 4th.
So it was a few months after that we kind of like we just before everything even shut down and stuff, we kind of just knew what was going to happen. So we just went ahead and did that pretty much. And I don't think we got together for probably about a year almost.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a solid year where none of us saw each other, you know, just talk on the phone and stuff like that. So it really, it sucked for Silver Screen because it was kind of, it's like we released it and then.
We had a lot of plans for touring. Yeah, stuff like that. We had some shows booked. Didn't we have shows?
Yeah, we had some shows booked and everything, and then it just kind of fell apart.
So now you guys are setting on that still, I guess. And I mean, are you guys still going to? I mean, I'm sure you're going to interpret these songs in your set list, but how frustrating is that to have this album come out and then you just had to sit there on it for a long time, man?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of these songs that were on Silver Screen, well, we've been working on it forever. So a couple of them we even had from like 2014 and on. So it's kind of like we've been sitting on a lot of this stuff forever and we just never really got around to finishing it or writing lyrics to it or something like that. And so it's kind of frustrating where, especially like merchandise wise and everything, once we started putting it out, we had these huge grand things to do merchandise wise, but then we just had to pull back immediately. I can't remember, like we probably, once we all got like vaccinated and stuff, we started coming back and getting together. And that's kind of like, even in the background right here, like from forever ago, we were always practicing in Brent's shed. Like it went from like his living room to, you know, my bedroom to this, you know, in the back of the 2014 CD, it says Evil Shed Productions. And so Brent just had this little shed and we set it up like, you know, made it all black and made it look like a cool little studio. So that was kind of where we had, and I'd say for the last year. So once we all started coming back around is when we started working on a new studio space and actually having more room. I mean, our biggest problem has always been shipping merchandise. So having the space in one of our houses to kind of, you know, have hundreds of shirts and stickers and vinyls and stuff sitting around.
Packages everywhere.
Yeah, it just doesn't. You can't have like 3 people over trying to package things in somebody's living room. So from there, we just kind of realized, hey, we need a studio space to get everything rolling again. And so that's what we've been working on, is really the studio space. And we released 1 song since Silver Screen.
Yeah.
And that was Astro Fiends. And I don't even know how long ago that was.
Wow.
2 months ago?
Yeah, 2 months ago.
I'd seen you post about the studio. You said, well, we're working on the studio finally. It's big black looking. I thought
that's
neat.
Yeah, that's my actual studio at my house. That's like a film studio. So this is a separate studio, like actually downtown where we live and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is where we practice and we ship packages.
Yeah.
We write songs, do all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I need me a studio like that inside my bedroom because it's a lane.
Yeah, hey man, it's a lot of work, and
I'd imagine. Yeah,
it gets crazy.
So y'all don't have you hadn't wrote anything whatsoever during the downtime, or you're just gonna wait to pick it back up and see what happens?
Oh no, we definitely have written. We kind of write so many songs that we end up having more songs than what we actually can even put out or anything. But we kind of choose certain ways to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Whether if we want to group a certain amount of songs together and just put those out, or do a song at a time or whatever. So just putting out 12 songs that are kind of random, it's not really our style anymore. We kind of try to theme things a little bit more. And with the Silver Screen album, we had more songs than what was on Silver Screen, but we wanted to make it themed, in a way. So we chose just the black and white horror movies and did a whole themed package with that one.
So are you guys going to, like, the songs that didn't make that album, are they going to come over to another album or another EP, or are they going to see the light of day or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming everything that we write comes out at some point.
Yeah,
but
it's really because Astro Fiends was one of them.
Yeah, Astro Fiends we've had from 2014, and we had the music recorded since 2016.
Yeah.
So 2016, we've had Astro Fiends done besides vocals, and we had another song with it, and we kind of got together and we were like, hey, we want to do a sci-fi release, like a little. We were gonna do, we were thinking like a sci-fi album or something, a bigger concept, but then we were like, hey, we already have the song. Let's rewrite the lyrics, and within like an hour, we had, Brent had already texted me all the lyrics to it, and then I'd already come up with a melody, and it was done. And within a week, we were in the studio finishing it and just out. So Silver Screen was crazy too, because I would say 80% of the album was all done within like 3 weeks to 4 weeks.
Yeah, pretty quick.
So
Jeez.
yeah, I'd say 80% of the album Brent just came up with in like 4 weeks. So I honestly don't think anybody wrote anything on that almost.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that we needed more songs when we came up with the idea for it. And I had, a couple of movies in mind that I was wanting to write songs for, like The Phantom of the Opera being one of them. And then I knew that I wanted to do a song that was like, that ended up being the Silver Screen song. And so I just had to write that and stuff. So, I mean, I just pretty much, we had a lot of just songs that just didn't have any title or any lyrics or anything to them. So, and that's kind of more the way we usually write is I just go, well, let's write a song about this. And so I'll just write some lyrics, and then we'll sit together and figure out which of those lyrics we want to use or whatever. We might go, I might write 6 verses and we only use 2 of them, or we just mix and match them all together until they, come up with something. Or, but or sometimes we might write it and it's got a whole lot of lyrics and we only use a very small portion of them just to make it, a certain style of song. If it's like a kind of a more poppy, like Ramones type song, we might go, well, let's just use this one phrase, from it. Or if it's something more involved, the more metal sounding song, we might, put more words or more lyrics and do it that way. That's kind of just the way we write. So
yeah, just basically take a Misfit song and go, hey, what did they do? Let's do that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. So
So how excited were you guys to finally get this album out? I know before the pandemic hit, but how excited were you to finally release this?
We were
Pretty excited,
pretty
yeah.
stoked. I think it's the first thing I've sang like I actually got to do vocals for. So for me, it was really like I was nervous the whole time.
Mm.
Just going in there, and I mean, playing the drums is usually really easy in the studio for me. I'll have everything done, like a whole album in like an hour or two, and it's just basic punk rock. It's not very hard. It's but then, you know, like vocals, I'm going in there for like a whole day for a song or two, you know? So
Yeah.
it's a whole different concept for me. And I like, at first I hated it. I was like, this is not for me. But,
Well, up to that point, you had done
yeah,
The Witch and
yeah, I'd done the
and
Witch
the Red Spectre song.
and the Red Spectre.
And was that it? Yeah, I guess that was it. Maybe, we had also done a couple other ones, Violent Side.
Yeah,
Done,
but nothing like
some
a
other
full like
stuff.
album
Yeah.
type thing, like nothing more than a couple songs. And it was also in a brand new studio. It's the first time we've ever been there. We've worked with the same two guys forever. One of the dudes did a lot of Whitechapel's earlier stuff, and he's local around us. And then the other guy is the guy that did our 2008 2009 releases and redid the 2014 release again. And so we're really good friends with those guys, and it's comfortable going there. So meeting a new person and then instantly going into that studio setting for the first time was really like just scary for me. It was like all around just super scary. But
it's cool because I think you actually found your voice.
Definitely.
In the Silver Screen album. Like you say, we had done The Witch and we had done The Red Spectre, and those songs were very different in tone and feel, and even as we were practicing and stuff and doing the old stuff, you know, it was kind of all that stuff had been redone so many times. There really wasn't an original feel towards his vocals, but in Silver Screen we really had to, you know, go in there with a new idea of concept vocally, you know, which he knocked out of the park on that one. So.
Well, how hard did they push you, Brandall, on this, man, to find your voice on this? I mean, I know you're out of your comfort zone because you want to be behind the kit.
Yeah. But, I think like energy comes from me playing drums and being physical. Like I'm super physical when I'm playing drums. So doing something that doesn't require a lot of physical, like, you know, strength or anything like that just doesn't suit me at all when I'm feeling like energy's hard to come by unless my body's feeling energy. So there's a few songs where it was easy, super easy. It was like I had down. I'd been singing them forever. But then there were some where Brent would be like, "No, let's redo that. Let's do this."
There's some that, you know, anytime you're doing a live, you know, we're practicing live. Again, he's getting that physical. We're all playing, and there's this energy. When you get into the studio, some songs just didn't translate very well that way. It translated more, you know, a little more softer than what we kind of wanted. It didn't have the energy that you know, we thought that those songs needed. And so, yeah, some songs were a little bit of a struggle, but it was cool because we did get to see a new vocal style kind of come out of it. And now when he sings stuff, it's a whole lot more him and unique, you know.
Yeah, anything that we've written since then is like completely different. Well, how I hear it is completely different than even Silver Screen, because I'm becoming not afraid to do what my vocals kind of want to do. So it's interesting to kind of hear, and it's still weird because no matter what we do, it still always sounds the same. And I think that comes from Brent and I. No matter what, like who's the singer, we've had James, you know, Austin, everybody that we've had, and no matter what, it all kind of stays the same. And that comes from me and him. Just the recording style, what we try to mimic every time.
The songwriting style.
The songwriting.
And the overall tone that we try to give the songs. It doesn't matter who is singing or not. You know, we envision a certain, you know, kind of atmosphere that this band always has. And, you know, and that's was always more important than any specific song that we ever did, you know, or even a singer that we had. It was more about holding on to that initial atmosphere that our very first album had, and then everything ever since has had that. So
Everybody, if you have any questions for Silent Horror, please put your questions into the chat room, and I'll relay these to Brandall and Brent. They may be able to see it also in there. Come up here and you can ask them. Yeah, you should be able to once everybody comes in and starts to post, if anybody posts. But yeah, come on in here, ask questions, hang out, do some backflips, double jacks. Now you talk about where you did vocals on this, it pushed you out of your box. Would you say this is more of growth for this band though, versus say 2014 till now? Is there a different side of Silent Horror's music from then to now, or no?
I'd say there's definitely some maturity in the songwriting. I mean, it's no surprise of the way that horror punk music is kind of boxed into, whether it be the Ramones style or whatever, even Bad Religion or something, whatever that horror punk style is. It's very limited. Punk rock in general is very limited to a certain kind of thing, and so to try to progress musically, you end up almost going out of it entirely, like AFI, for instance, or somebody like that, where you almost want to just switch genres because you've kind of already did everything and reached the limit on it. But we never really, we always just go back to the Misfits and just say, that's the music we love. And they time and time again release the same stuff over and over, just, with a new theme and a new idea or a new movie or whatever it was. And so that's just what we've always done. So, but trying to write those songs and write them even better, or taking them up, the same structure and then just making it a better song. But we've definitely, I think that we've progressed as far as that goes, but still trying to hold on to that initial thing. I just think we do it better now than we had in the past. But
having this break, guys, though, has it fueled your fire even more? I mean, has it just gave you that recharge to come up with more stuff?
I feel like it's done the exact opposite.
Yeah.
The biggest problem is, I guess we, as just normal people, he started a tattoo shop. So, for the first time, he's got his own business. He's doing his own thing. He's trying to, and also during, the last couple of years, I've started my own business. I do my own thing. And pretty much everybody in the band was like doing their own thing. So the band was kind of like, almost like a speed bump, like a little roadblock for everybody when they're trying to do their stuff. But it's always kind of been, Silent Horror has always been one of those things where, randomly we get this bug and we sit down for like 3 weeks, write an album, go record it in 2 weeks, and then we put it out and then do all kinds of stuff for, a couple months, and then something catastrophic happens and then we're back to square one.
Yeah, that's the main thing. There's always been something that kept us from really keeping the momentum going with our stuff. So it's like, we get a new singer and then we lose a singer and then we get another singer and then we lose it, or then there was, whatever thing we were doing in our life that kind of took hold of it or whatever. But I think that with us being able to do it now with Brandall singing really makes it to where we can rely on ourselves and just ourselves, which in some ways might have hindered us in a way. It might have made us a little lazy because we don't really have much commitment to anything other than just us, going, well, yeah, we should probably do that, or now we won't,
Yeah, it's a little harder to push ourselves when we know like the band's okay no matter what, because it's always going to be me and Brent. So, and that was kind of why I even stepped up and said like, hey, one of us have got to sing. So it was kind of between us two, like one of us has to sing. So, we were fortunate enough to have two other dudes, that took the spot. And, the drummer, Gary, we've known him for like our entire lives. He's like a local metal drummer, hardcore kind of guy. Like we've been in hardcore bands alongside of him, like, cause Brent and I were both in hardcore bands growing up. And, metal bands, and he was just always around. So, you know, it was easy. And he's actually played a show for Silent Horror when I was the drummer, filled in for me. So it was kind of like an easy no-brainer, like, to get him.
Well, and I don't want to speak for him, but he said that Brandall was a huge influence to him when he was growing up, because Brandall was already an established drummer.
Oh, wow.
Gary was kind of coming up, and he was younger, and he was still part of our crowd, and, you know, of all of our bands that were together. So we were in more of mature bands, and he was more in a starter band. And so he looked up to the way Brandall was drumming and kind of took that. So those songs and stuff, I think he ended up learning a lot of that. And so it was pretty easy for him to.
Our styles are very similar.
Yeah.
They're like, you know, he's like 80% of what I do, or 60, you know, but he's got his own craziness. He's a lot better of a technical drummer than I am. So there's stuff that he can add that I never did, which is good, you know, for the band. It makes us a little bit more diverse. And then on top of that, you know, we have a bass player who's Brandon, who is the craziest dude in the world. The guy is just insane. And he's just, I would say, without him, this band would have been done forever ago.
Yeah, probably.
Like, we wouldn't have probably went on with this band at all. He auditioned to be our drummer, but he didn't even know how to play drums.
He was horrible.
Yeah. He messaged me on Instagram and showed up at our practice place and was like, yeah, I can play these songs on drums. And he sat down and he couldn't play the drums at all.
Not at all.
Oh, no.
And he was like, yeah, I can't really play this.
I just wanted to come meet you guys and hang out.
We're like, okay.
And at the time, we didn't even need a bass player. Our original bass player was still in the band. But
we were like, all right, I guess he can run lights or
yeah,
something.
he could run lights,
cool.
dude.
He was like the coolest dude. And we just knew we'd get along with him. And we're just like, what can we do, you know? And it just so happened that the guy that was playing bass, Matt, our original bass player, he just really didn't have the time for it. It wasn't something he was really interested in. So then we got Brandon, and I mean, having another solid person in the mix really helped. And then Gary, which I guess we were getting Gary at the same time. I'm not really sure. I don't remember. It kind of all happened at once, but we had actually tried Gary before. We didn't really care that much for the dynamic of the way the band was set, you know, because for so many years it had been one way, and you were singing then. Yeah,
I think we just we were so used to the band being the way it was that we couldn't really accept like a new I mean, I'd never sang before. I didn't know what I was doing. And then Gary coming in and drums and us expecting like him to be exactly who I was.
And we had been in several bands, but I have always ever only played guitar to Brandall's drums.
Yeah.
So there's a thing where when we sit together, it's like we don't even have to even look at each other. Like we become one. And so bringing in another drummer is just, it never worked, you know. But then it did. So I don't know. Maybe the first time we tried Gary, maybe it just wasn't, what he was into at the time or what. But then we tried it again and it worked really well. So that's what we stuck with.
So was Gary that missing piece of this band that you guys needed but didn't realize you needed at that point?
I think it was like he finally allowed us to for me and him to get together. Like, it always kind of went weird. Like he would, and still does, he would write the guitar, he would write the vocals, and then bring it to me. He'd have sort of a melody, and then I would rewrite the structure of the entire song, and then I would rewrite the melody that he's already written, and then bring something to it. And it was always I was putting a little spice on everything he was doing. And, even if it was just hey, hit this chord here with a cymbal. And that's, I think, how we learned to play together so well. It was kind of it's weird to say it like that, but it's James and Lars kind of deal. And that's how we always felt. Metallica is pretty much, I would say, one of our favorite bands of all time. And so even the Black Album, which a lot of Metallica fans don't like, that's it's what we dig, Yeah, it's amazing. And I think it was the consistency of the cymbal hits with the chord changes and all this stuff, the structure of the songs are what we tried to bring into horror punk. And I mean, like, if like you go and listen to the song "The Witch," like that's just a Metallica song.
Yeah.
And it just accidentally turned into a horror punk song, which I don't even know if it is. But and that's the other thing is like I don't even think we even write, like half of the stuff we write, we try to make it a horror punk song. The other stuff we just write some metal song, and that's just what comes out. It's like we're not amazing musicians, so if we try to write like crazy metal stuff, it just comes out like
A little more simplistic.
like a really simple Misfits song. So
Any tracks standing out more to you guys than any right now on the silver screen? I know it must change every time you listen. I know these are your babies. I know you're probably tired of the songs, but are there
I
any
listen to them
that
every day.
Yeah, we listen to them all the time. I know for me, I mean, there was some that I did different stuff that I'd ever really done on guitar. House on Haunted Hill is one of them that where I kind of just got a little wacky on the guitar. That I tried to, do something a little different. It's outside of that like Misfits realm, and so to me, that song always it's always a cool one for me to play. Even when we practice and we play it live, like I'm always really into that one. And then, I mean, probably like Silver Screen, Dr. Caligari. I mean, they're all, they feel the same as the early stuff we wrote.
Yeah.
I feel the same way playing those that I feel playing the ones that I played in 2008. And because they're kind of the same songs, just redone,
Yeah, if you take our song Silver Screen, I'm pretty sure it's the exact same song that we wrote in 2008 called Beware, chord for chord.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
At least in some parts, I mean, because that's the way that type of music is written. The 50s kind of doo-wop stuff that turned into like Ramon stuff, and
sure.
So, I mean, all that stuff is kind of the same, but like I was talking about earlier, just the maturity in it has grown and it's become, different, but it all still feels the same when I play it, and yeah, I mean, outside of House on Haunted Hill, that they kind of all just have the same. I still love playing them the same way I like playing the other ones, So it's.
And I guess for me, it's like since I'm new to the vocals on it, like when I hear myself sing, it doesn't sound like it's me. So hearing these songs, like I find weird ones that I really like. Like there's a song like Psycho. It's only 1 minute long. And it's probably my favorite or second favorite. And then Phantom of the Opera. Those two are kind of like my two favorites because I did stuff vocally that I've never done before.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the whole album, I've never really done anything. So yeah, but those are my two favorite. And like Caligari, just the ones that like when I listened to put me in the movie. That was like kind of almost every song we did. We wanted you to put the song on and like be able to watch the movie with your ears kind of deal. Like feel the vibe of the song from the start to finish. And so a lot of them kind of hit that way. But Silver Screen, I would say, is my favorite song probably we've ever written almost.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I absolutely love that song.
What about that song sticks out the most for you, though, man? What's it? Well, Lord God, I'm getting tongue-tied. I'm doing a doo-wop now.
I think it's the atmosphere of that song. Like right when we were in the recording studio, I don't even think I had it was the first song I recorded on vocals and I didn't have any trouble with it. It just felt right. Everything felt super good about that song. And I guess it's like listening to the 90s Misfits. That's the reason, we kind of write like we do or do what we do, whatever. And, I could put on one of their songs and I was instantly into the movie or into the vibe of what was going on. And there's a few bands that do that. And we were always trying to capture that. And I think that song did it. So.
Are you guys planning on taking this out on the road this year, or are you just going to lay back, see what all happens, or what?
Well, I mean, our lives right now, and for the last, I don't even know, maybe 5 years or so, hasn't really been set up for like full touring, like trying to tour, like, get a bus or buy a bus, rent a bus, whatever, and try and do that. it really hasn't been something that we've been able to do for a long time, but we are more into like doing small stuff, maybe 3 shows in a row, going up a certain place or whatever. So
Yeah.
We had full intentions on doing that with Silver Screen and doing, a whole stage setup with amp scrims and big banners and, really trying to push that Silver Screen thing, which is what we were right on that.
Yeah. We were like there. We were like a week away from having all of our banners, all of our light show stuff.
And that's when the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
So
that sucks.
Yeah. And so when that happened, of course, all the shows we had for that time period, we had some in the summer and we had some in October of 2020. Yeah. And so those all got canceled, obviously. And then we had hopes, and so then we started booking shows out for like June 2021. And of course, that didn't happen either. And so
it's like
and we even had some last October that got canceled still for the same reasons. I mean, it's like seemed like it just wasn't going to end and shows weren't going to happen. And then, here in the last little bit, shows started happening somewhat here and there. Some states do them, some don't. It's just random. It's a weird place. But we've always kind of had this thing for setting up and trying to do live shows, which we've never really had the capability until now to do that because we have an actual place now, a band practice room that we can control the environment of. And that's really what we've kind of been working on, and probably what we're going to end up doing is trying to do that and have more shows, like, whether it's just live band practices or, single specific streams that we promote and then do one, thing or whatever it is we end up doing. It'll probably be more like that just because we can control it at this point, and
I need to get you guys on here in the spring or maybe the summer, do like an acoustic show on here. Just turn it all over to you guys and say, there you go, knock it out.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
That's one of the things like we want to start doing. We wanted to start being more interactive online. I mean, everybody's got to kind of transform. I mean, even if things go back to normal, it's never going to be kind of the same.
No.
It's always going to, from now on, it's kind of like if you're not online doing stuff all the time, just you're not relevant. You have to be constantly pushing online. So we're going to try to, like right now, like I said, like he just opened his tattoo shop like a week ago. Mm-hmm. So he's been rebuilding that, doing that. And I've been working on my black hole of a garage studio and just all kinds of stuff, man. It's been really crazy for every single member, not just us. The other 2 guys have had crazy stuff going on with businesses and just family and everything. Yeah. So it literally seemed like when Astro Fiends came out a couple months ago, I mean, like we were on it. We were ready to get back in a studio. We were ready to just go. We wanted to put out like as much stuff as we can, just start going for it. And then it was kind of like, regular life kind of came about and pushed us back again. And that's what's always been a crappy thing about, us and the band is kind of like, we get this momentum and then it falls off and then we come back and falls off. If we could just kind of keep that steady, it would be, I think, a lot better. We'd definitely see like growth a lot faster, but again, this is the first time we've ever had a place like a studio with extra rooms that we can set up, that we can, do whatever we want to do with them. And that's kind of where we're heading right now, is to do more, but not have to tour and stuff all the time.
Right. And I mean, you said the best thing ever, you have to keep pushing.
Yeah.
And for those who follow me on Facebook for Bod's Mayhem Hour and plus my personal page, I am posting things every single day. And I mean, I'm posting all kinds of stuff. And I'm sure people are sick of seeing what I post, but you got to keep posting, man. You have to. And I'm very thankful for the ones who subscribe to my YouTube page. A shameless plug there. But I do appreciate it because you see the payment. Well, I wouldn't say payment. I guess you see, I don't know. You see the work that you put into it finally pays off.
Yeah.
You know,
For
I'm
sure.
close to
And
1,000 subscribers, and I you know, I've worked my ass off for this, and I know you guys work your ass off for what y'all do too, and
yeah,
it's
and
Yeah.
well, and that's the main thing, is that there's definitely times where we go like, hey, is this really the best thing we should be doing or whatever? And then we're like, well, I don't know, let's put this thing out, and then we put it out, and it gets people love it so much. We do some merchandise, people buy every bit of it, like it sells out. We do way better than what we even assumed that we would do, and then we're like, man, it's hard to not see all that, and be like, gosh, people really do like this stuff, and they really, they've come to expect something from us,
And that's the other hard part is like silent horror, like every album or every song we do, we don't just put it out. Like we're not just like in here, I mean, like we have electronic, like we have a real drum set here, but it's all electronic. Everything we practice with is like in ear, like electronic. It sounds like, you're playing in a stadium. Like it sounds great. But I mean, we could just record that and put it out, or, we could go and record the drums ourselves or digital. But we've always like put ourselves, like whatever recording we put out, we want it to be like just as good as, if not better than some of the bigger punk rock bands out there. So we're always pushing to do that.
Because again, it's that atmosphere, and you can't really get that if we just record a demo. It wouldn't feel like that, and I think that has a lot to do with the '90s Misfits and the sound that they had. Whether you like the songs or if you like Graves or whatever, you can't deny that those songs had an atmosphere to them. Those albums, entirely. And that's what we've always liked, because when we were kids, we loved the feel of those albums, whether the songs were that good or not, or, it was more about like, just, it's like for kids to hear that as teenagers and experience like this movie feel with the music. I mean, it worked, and it was awesome. And that's what we're growing to love. So.
It was like our Kiss, like they were our Kiss,
For sure.
Sure.
And I mean, like when I first saw, in '96 is when I first like got American Psycho. So I was 10 years old. And I mean, like just the cassette, I like unrolled the cassette and had like the picture of Doyle in there, all giant, and like just all of them looking like insane. And, I'd never seen anything like that ever. So to us, that was kind of where we started gravitating toward musically through everything. Even if we were playing metal, like we were playing really crazy metal. Like we were doing huge tours with Motionless in White and giant tours with all these huge bands. And but then we'd come home and play Misfit covers, like, and we'd go to recording studios and record full metal albums. And but then we would sit around and play all of our Misfit covers. We'd run through American Psycho and Famous Monsters, song for song, all of practice,
Yeah.
So it's kind of always been with us, and no matter what we get into or anything like that, that's our it's our favorite bands. That's what we do. So
the Misfits. Go ahead. I'm sorry, man.
I feel like finally we have a place that we can do this. So I think once we get that momentum, like, hey, we're gonna push this forward, it's a lot easier and faster. It used to be like, okay, well, hold on, we got to do this, we got to schedule a practice. We all can't, like, now, if it's just me and Brent, that's okay. We can come up here and practice on them like that. Or if it's just me and a bass player, that's okay, we can do that. But before it was kind of,
like we all had to get together or nothing, it's all or nothing. And it's like the planets had to align for us all to get together. And if they didn't, there was really no point or anything like that. And so now we want to we're trying to build a place. We have a place that's pretty awesome, and it's got like 4 or 5 different rooms, and all these rooms we have specific ideas for. Like one's a studio, one's a band practice room, one's a merchandise room, one's this and that. And so we can really try to do that. But I mean, it takes money and time and stuff like that. And,
a lot of time.
And that's the main thing is just, some of these rooms need a lot of work to be able to turn them into something that we want to do, because we you know, like we don't really want to have this white wall in the background, you know, like we want to have a big banner, you know, back.
Big
But it's
silent
just,
horror banner. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's what we want. And so that's what we're kind of trying to build up before we actually, you know, go into it.
And we almost plague ourselves. Same way I was talking about recording an album, you know, we won't like just come out and be like, oh, we've kind of got an album. Here it is. Got to go. You know, we'll be like, okay, let's spend 3 months recording an album. Let's put all of our life savings into this album. Let's, you know, dump everything about our lives and just go just this one thing. And then afterward, we kind of have to like go back to our lives and build that back up again. So it's kind of hard for us to go, oh, let's just throw up a banner and call it done and start doing stuff. You know, we're the type of people that are like, hey, we got to buy, you know, Shure SM7Bs if we're going to be talking into a camera. Exactly. And we've got to be, you know, we know everything that there is about, you know, podcast gear, about, you know, recording gear, you name it. Like me and him, we'll sit there for like 24 days straight, just looking at microphones, researching microphones. So
Yeah.
I think it's like it's good and it's bad at the same time, because when we do release something, it's awesome. It's up to quality. It's up to par with, you know, what it should be. But at the same time,
we don't get that often. You know, it's not that often we actually get to finalize something, because we're constantly trying to
push ourselves higher and higher and higher.
See, I'm the same way with programs, because I want this to sound like a studio quality recording, you know, like you hear on the actual radio. And I'm always looking for something. And I found Descript, which is pretty awesome, but you have to have a subscription to all that crap. And it frustrated me the other night when I was looking at it, and it's got the free version. But when you click on Sound Studio, what you're supposed to click on to make it sound like you're in a studio, you can't get it to you like by the program. And I was like, you motherfuckers. I figured you'd get me somehow, some way.
Always.
But going back to the Misfits, man, that band is a huge influence on just about anybody and everybody and every style of music. Just about. And that blows my mind. I'm like, really? I know some country artists who dig the Misfits. And I'm going, really?
Yeah.
So crazy.
It really is.
But, you know, you have these people, and I hate the question when they say, do you like Graves or Danzig? I don't care who it is. I like them both. I heard Brent. He likes Danzig better. But I think I heard Brent right. I mean, he said this. I don't know. But anyway.
No, I like Danzig as a human better.
yeah,
Danzig as a human better.
Yes. I give you that part.
But there's something about those Graves era songs, and even like the ones that were used in movies, like Bruiser. Cuts from the Crypt is one of the best albums of all time.
Oh, yes. By far.
I mean, those are probably our favorite songs: "The Fiend Without a Face," "Bruiser,"
yeah,
1 Million Years
No More Moments,
"Devil Doll," "No More Moments."
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, all those they're incredible songs that would have been great. And I mean, there's even unreleased tracks, Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah,
some of those other ones that are like just.
I get cold chills thinking about some of them, like some of the videos and just like some of the audio and
sound checks and everything else that they've done. You know, they really had.
We were really mesmerized. I think in 2008 we were like beyond mesmerized. We did it all, man. Like we found out that they only did sound checks in jogging pants and like beanies with shirts, or like shirt sleeves wrapped around their heads, and they would only do it in like jerseys, like oversized huge shirts. So we would show up to our shows in huge jogging pants. And like we were small kids, we were really tiny, and we would have like 3X, you know, shirts on down to here, like getting up there and like getting our stuff, our equipment ready, just because the Misfits did it. So we thought like we have to show up in football sweats, you know. If they're doing it, we're doing it.
Yeah, and you know that's I don't know if people ever think about it or not, why we don't wear makeup or anything like that and that stuff. I mean, we did in the very beginning, you know, with the first maybe 4 or 5 shows, we tried to do makeup and stuff like that. And we ended up just thinking, you know what, like we sound better So let's just let that just do its thing. Let's not try to put try and do everything. Let's just do one thing as good as we can do it and lean with that, And so that's kind of what we always did after that. I mean, and it was always just awkward. Nobody wants to get up and carry your amp on stage with a face full of makeup.
The one thing, I don't like seeing is seeing a band. If we had like roadies that like sound checked all of our stuff, like Hatebreed or something, like that came up there and played an entire set before we played, I would be all about that, and slap some makeup on me and all that. But
yeah, seeing somebody get up there and bend over and mess with their amp while they're in, some kind of crazy Halloween costume is not the best thing. You need the lights, you need the fog, you need all that. And without that, it's just hard. And when we were first starting out, I mean, we were literally we travel 7 hours, get out of the van, go
straight into the show,
and so
play first and get out of there.
Trying to put our makeup on in the car and everything else. It was just a mess. So, I mean, it was just, and not that it's not the way to do it or anything. I mean, lots of people do it and it's great. It's their thing and stuff. But it just, for us, it was just like, we can probably just play these songs and they'll just sound good,
They'll just sound good.
we don't really need to. We don't need to look the part. We can just play the songs and they'll sound the part.
I think we looked at AFI a lot too. We were huge fans growing up of AFI. So we saw them and we were like, well, they're not doing it. Like they're not wearing makeup or they're not doing this or that. So we just kind of were like, hey, we're Punk-O-Rama and Epitaph, like volumes and like we're those kind of guys. We're like
94,
90s skate kids, So we're like, when we see this stuff, we're like, oh, okay, well, we're just going to wear all black clothes and look like we skateboard and play horror punk. So
was there a track, guys, that you were working on that totally ended up sounding different than intended to on Silver Screen? Was there a song that when it was brought to the table, it totally ended up sounding different than what it was?
Yeah, Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah,
for sure. Phantom was one of the songs that I think was the last song we wrote for that. I think I wrote it in like a day.
You wrote it in like a day, and I recorded it by myself without any input from them, which is the only song I've ever done like that. Yeah. So it was kind of like, who knows how this sounds?
Yeah,
kind of deal.
And a lot of songs we'll do because we have the technology to be able to record demos like really fast because everything we play is through electronic stuff. So getting like a demo is really easy. So for all the Silver Screen stuff, we had demos of them, and he had done vocal track demos and stuff like that where we'd been listening to him and hearing him. But then that, like the last 3 songs or something that we wrote for that album, we wrote like really fast right before we recorded, so we didn't have time to make demos and stuff of. So we were kind of like, I don't know if this song's any good, like this Phantom song, it works, but I don't know, and then like we just went in and recorded it, and it ended up being, one of our favorite songs on the album.
Yeah,
so
that one, and I think like Dr. Caligari for me was a little weird. Before, like I wasn't confident about it, and then when we went in to record it, I was like, oh, that's easy, it sounds great.
Yeah, sometimes they're easier, sometimes they're harder. I mean, and we kind of try to judge it, but then we always end up just having to deal with it on the fly and stuff. I mean, we've got songs right now that we're in the middle of trying to record, and just we're sitting here going, well, which one should we do? Should we do the hard ones or the easy ones? And we'll get in there, and the hard ones will be easy, and the easy ones will be hard.
Yeah, and it's random. Like you're playing like a metal song or like a really fast, like complicated song, as complicated as we can get, and you think like that's going to be hard in the studio, but then you get there, that's completely easy, and you go to do a 4-part harmony on a 4-chord verse, and you're like, okay, we're in here doing vocals for 6 hours on this one part, So it all just kind of depends. And I think House on Haunted Hill also sounded different from when we're like playing it. And sometimes you get in the studio and like you go to start doing a drum track with the first one, and you're trying to figure out the metronome, which we had like figured out before. But at the same time, when we get in there, we're like, oh, that doesn't sound right, we should speed it up. And then when we get done with the song, it's like twice as fast as like the original. that we had written. So
then it comes out kind of weird, and you're like, wait a minute, like this song had a different feel when we wrote it versus when it comes out recorded. So we run into that kind of stuff a lot. I mean, there's some songs that we practice and we're like, man, this song is just kicking. You know?
It's a live song.
And then we go in and record it, and we're like, that's not that good, And so that kind of happens. I mean, the Tingler was one of the ones that where we first kind of learned that, because we were so jazzed on the song when we first wrote it. We were playing it. We played it for months. And we're just like, God, this song's amazing. Then we went into the studio and we recorded it, and we were like, what happened to that song?
Right, well, okay, on to the next one.
And it just doesn't. And still live, we always put the Tingler on a set list because it's just live. It sounds
number
so good.
5 on the set list right here, and it's like so good live, but it
just didn't. It
didn't cut through on the record for us. I mean, for a lot of people, it did. They love it, but for us, we were like, not good.
What do you guys hope everyone takes away while listening to any of Silent Horror's music in general? What do you guys hope they get from it?
Fun. I hope that they can kind of put it on, and it's the whole atmosphere part of it is like in the Misfits, to me, was, getting away from what was going on around as a child or growing up and being a skateboarder, or, we live in a tiny town. I mean, like, we were like the only 2 kids around that really skateboarded and like were into punk rock or anything. So I mean, like, when we live in a small town, we have to drive, a couple hours to get to like a mall. It's a tiny town. So I think like for us is like hearing, there's been a few people that, really good friends of mine now that started out with just them messaging me and saying like, hey man, this has gotten me through, wanting to commit suicide, wanting to, and that's multiple people. It's divorce. It's gotten people through, child custody stuff. I mean, a lot of messages, and that's what keeps us going. Not to sound cliche, cheesy, or anything like that. It literally is like, sometimes I'll get messages that it just like, it's beyond what I would ever think that this little band that we don't even take that seriously, like we'll put out stuff and we're always doing something, but like other people take this way more serious than we do. And to me, that's like incredible, being able to talk to someone that it's actually helped, or they get something out of it daily that they can kind of look to when, shit's kind of getting hard.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, and also, I mean, when you actually listen to the music, we just hope that people hear something of note, something of quality, something where they can go like, man, that stands out against the rest of, what's coming out or whatever, in this genre. And because we really want to make something that stands out. Everything we do, we try to do it to our best capability, and even beyond what we're capable of.
Way beyond what we're actually capable of.
We're not happy with what we do, so we redo it and we put it out this way or that way, and we struggle a lot with it. We go through different art designs, this and that, and everything, just because we don't want to put out anything that, people would not think that we're capable of putting it out. We want to make sure that everything is of note and worthy of going into a kind of a log of what we've done, in the past or whatever. So, I always hope that people still hear they hear a new track and they go, yeah, they still got it, or whatever. Because if they don't, then we'll quit.
Yeah.
We'll stop it.
We'll be done when people can't put it on and have that same effect.
Yeah.
It's amazing on the music you guys and other bands write that somebody can interpret it in their own way, different way.
Yeah.
The song was originally written, and it saves their life. I mean, and they take it, they take it and turn it into something that gives them inspiration. And to me, it's the beauty of music because it's so subjective. Anybody can it blows my mind. Thank God there's music out there. I don't care if it's gospel, bluegrass, rap,
for sure.
whatever. Just that's so cool, man.
And it's weird too, like you mentioned that, because we have a song from 2008 that when we first started we wrote called Equilibrium. And it's funny because we told our singer at the time, James, to go home and write a song about Reanimator, the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had the song. The next day he walks into practice, and I'm pretty sure we had his living room filled with smoke, like fog. We had green lights, and we were like in the middle of his living room ready to go when he walks in. And we were like, okay, tell us what you got, and he picks up the mic and he starts singing. And dude, we are loving it, man. Like, yeah, I'm getting chills, man. I'm like, this is so good. And I was like, let me read the lyrics. And I start looking at him and I'm like, what the hell is this about? And he thought Reanimator.
He's like, it's Equilibrium. And we're like, why?
We told you to write a song about the movie Reanimator, not about
and he's like,
Christian Bale and Equilibrium.
He's like, I got confused. I thought it was Equilibrium. And we're like, no.
So we have a horror punk song about Equilibrium. And it kind of crossed over to, I mean, at the time, we were a straight edge band. I mean, him and I have always been, lifelong straight edge dudes. And it was kind of like, it had this duality of like, about, anti-drug, not really leaning on, a substance to get you through. And a lot of people thought that's what that song was, is our straight edge song.
Because a lot of people, especially when you're thinking of a horror punk song, you don't think of the movie Equilibrium.
Sure.
And so a lot of people didn't even put that together, that it was about a movie too, the movie Equilibrium. And it kind of helps too that the lyrics are kind of vague, except for at some point there's this, the lyric that says Grammaton Cleric. And
yeah, you're kind of like, okay, they're writing about the movie.
And that's not even really legible. Like when you hear it, if you know the lyrics, then you can definitely go, oh, that's what they said. But if you don't know that's what it said, you kind of just be like, I don't know what they're talking about, So yeah, that was one thing that, yeah, people said it was a straight edge song, or at least it resonated with them in that way, and which is super cool because, like you said, we've been straight edge forever. So to write a song that, feels straight edge, I guess is pretty cool, But
now I know you guys listen to a lot of music, and I still do ever since I was a little kid. But do you still have a go-to album or song that you find yourself going back and listening to from time to time? Maybe gravitating that you have to have it from each week, each month. I can pretty much guarantee what your answer is going to be. Something from the Misfits, of course.
Well,
maybe
it's funny. He probably listens to a lot more music than I do. I listen to the same 3 or 4 albums all the time. It never changes, ever. I don't listen to a lot of new music ever. I like on my workout yesterday, I think I listened to Hatebreed, Perseverance.
Good song.
Like that entire album I'll listen to. And then I listened to the Metallica Black album. And then MXPX.
Oh,
I listen to them a lot. And then the Misfits.
Throwdown, Deathless.
I do listen to a lot of Throwdown.
Yeah.
A lot of Throwdown. So yeah, I mean,
we may see a Throwdown album from Silent Whore here soon, maybe.
Oh my God, we
tried.
Don't, yeah, I was about to say, don't look up our other band that we had not too long ago that nobody knows about on YouTube.
Yeah, there was a time where we were confident that we would never have another singer, and so it was like, well, we'll just do another thing, and we did something that was very much along the lines of Throwdown.
Yeah.
And it was rad. But
sounds great.
But it just wasn't. It wasn't really for us, and we kind of have this thing for being able to write in any genre.
Yeah, we can just grab a genre at practice and write.
Only like a song. So it's like it doesn't matter what genre you name a genre.
We have a rap song together
on the fly. Write it.
Yeah, we have metal songs. We've done songs like Dragon Force songs.
Oh man, Dragon Force, The Muse.
We've done The Muse. We've done.
I mean, we've even got to the point where we just play a game where we just name a genre or a band and we, Nickelback. We just write a song and it just sounds like Nickelback.
We've had like 4 songs that sound like Nickelback before. Like at one time we were like, "Hey man, we got this."
Yeah, we're like, man, we could do this. We could go get some bar gigs and go, make some money, and then But
oh yeah, and our sound check at every practice is
Papa Roach.
Papa Roach.
Tear my heart open.
Yeah, it's how I get my vocals warmed up.
What about you, Brent? Man, what's a go-to album you still have today that you gotta have, or song?
Yeah, I kind of jump back and forth between different kinds of genres. Right now, it's probably like Ghost. Ghost is probably what I'm into the most.
Yes, sir.
I just can't get enough of them. They never get old. So I listen to a lot of Ghost, but as far as like stuff that I've always listened to that I kind of have to get back into is I probably like Bad Religion, MXPX, stuff from my childhood mostly. The Misfits. I don't listen to the Misfits as much as I reference the Misfits, if that makes sense. I think I've wore those out so much to the point now where it's actually really hard for me to listen to them, because all I do is analyze it. And that happens a lot of times with music that's in the genre of what we do, that I can't really find myself listening to, because I just dissect it into pieces and I can't really enjoy it as much. So really any kind of horror punk that comes out or anything, I just end up analyzing it too much. I can only focus on what guitar progressions or what the vocals are, doing, how many harmonies
or what I would have done right there, or like.
Yeah, I go like, oh wait, that sounds like this other song, or whatever. And so with the Misfits, I do it like 1,000 times. I mean, I can't listen to those songs without dissecting them. So it's hard for me to actually listen to them anymore and really enjoy them as much. So, but that's probably why like Ghost, I can't even play a Ghost song on guitar. It's just hard.
It's funny because he listens to a lot of Ghost, and I listen to all the members that quit Ghost, yeah. All their electronic stuff, Priest. I listen to their band every day. I listen to them like 6 hours straight today. So I don't like Ghost, but I like electronic music. So yeah, it's kind of like.
But I think that's why I like Ghost so much, is because I don't have to analyze it. Like I can really just enjoy it, because I know I can't play the guitar, to their stuff. It's so out there compared to the what I like, but it still feels the same. It still has that atmosphere of like the Misfits.
Very atmospheric.
Which is why I probably like him so much, because at first, when I first heard Ghost, I was like, that's weird, because I was expecting this death metal band or something, black metal. And then it wasn't until I saw some of their music videos and I was like, oh, I see what they're doing. I get it. And once that happened, I kind of started to embrace just the kind of campiness of the whole thing. And it really does have a whole lot of parallels with like the Misfits, the 90s Misfits and stuff, with the way that they have a monster stage presence and an atmosphere to their music and a theme, that kind of goes along with it. And so to me, that's why I'm into that band as much as I am. But I'm also a big like 70s rock dude. I like that stuff. Brandall's never been into that stuff, so I like Blue Oyster Cult. So
yeah, I hate most all music. I'm very especially weirdly picky. Yeah, if it's old, if it was before the 80s, count me out, man. I'm a freak on production. Yeah, it starts at Iron Maiden, and then it kind of fell off again at 96. And then it picks back up at 2005 for a year. So I'm stupid picky, but I mean, I do listen to some obscure stuff that nobody really ever know, like Berlin artists named Thomas Azir, and strange electronic music from a band like IMX. I listen to a lot of electronic music. I don't ever think about it, but I probably listen to a majority of if I'm listening to music without trying to think or work out or do some activity. If I don't need atmosphere to do what I'm doing, I'm listening to electronic music. So it's all just crazy, gothy, electronic stuff.
All right, guys. So since the pandemic's hit, would you say it's now an even playing field for everybody to take advantage of online, or do you think it's more oversaturated now?
I think it's the same. If you have money, you're going to make it. If you have if you can get off the ground, it's he who strikes first, strike while the iron's hot kind of deal. If you were already preparing to be a live band online and you were already trying to do this stuff, it's a little easier. But if you were a touring band, and that was your go-to on how you were going to make everything after that, I think it's brutal for some bands and really easy for others. And for us, it's not so good. We're not like, I'm online all the time, like on Instagram doing my like actual day job and what I do online, but like that doesn't translate over to what we do here.
At the moment.
Yeah, at the moment, it's just not like translating. So I think it's a good and bad thing for almost everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's sort of similar like with cinema and what it did for cinema. It's like people were ready to stream new movies, on HBO or whatever years ago.
Yeah.
And it was building and getting to that point where it's like people didn't want to go to the theater anymore and it wasn't really going to happen. And then pandemic hits and hey, now we have an excuse to not go to the theater. And and the production companies and the like HBO or whoever could go, okay, well now it's time, now's when we shine, because they had to have been working on this market for that kind of stuff for years and years, and now they can do it and do it like because it has to be done. And I don't think it was a bad thing for the theaters. Yeah, of course. But I don't think it was a bad thing for the progression of whatever society. It's just kind of the way it was going to go anyway. It just kind of got a violent shove towards it.
Yeah.
And I think music's the same way too. I mean, most bands now don't put out an album. They only do singles, there's a lot of bands that there's just no real point in it anymore because
nobody's making money off of it.
You can do a single song and get this huge hype, and then 2 weeks later do it again, and then 2 weeks later do it again and do it again, and just kind of roll it instead of.
It's like social media is built for that. It's built for more consistent small things than it is, one big thing and then fall off for a year. One big thing, then fall off for a year. So
a band could take a song, put it out, and then start doing a tour, and they do a 6-month-long tour, and during that first 6 weeks of that, they're releasing a single song at a time. So they're keeping this hype the whole time, and I think that's the smarter people in the genre, in the industry was already doing that to start with.
Yeah.
And then so now it's everybody has to do that, So but especially with like records now, you can't get a record made. It's really, really tough. So for bands that are trying to put out something, a CD, nobody buys CDs anymore. It's not a thing. You want to buy either a record. Well, and some people do, but the mass market really isn't about CDs anymore. It's about records now. It's about vinyl. Everybody wants vinyl, and they're really cool and they're awesome to collect. And why wouldn't you want them? But here in the last couple of years, the demand has gotten so high, and now it's gotten to the point where you can't.
You just can't get it.
So for a band to try to get her, we wanted to put out
Silver Screen.
Astrophiends.
We're going to do a single on 7-inch vinyl
for Astrophiends, and we couldn't get it made.
It's been like a year and a half to get the vinyl in our hands, and that's not even a guarantee.
Yeah.
And now with bigger artists realizing it, like vinyl was coming back, isn't there something like Miley Cyrus and all these other people are putting out like hundreds of thousands of vinyls now instead of, and so it's like buying up that marketplace that we used to own, smaller bands own.
The independent bands were the only ones doing vinyl at the time.
But now large bands, like we go into Walmart, they don't have CDs, but they have vinyl.
They have a big vinyl collection. Yeah.
So it's crazy, man. And like, I
think that was really weird for us putting out, Astrophiends, because we couldn't put out a physical release for it. It's like, why are we doing music? Why are we a band if
we're not playing shows off of it and we're not selling our music,
Yeah, it made it really hard. And we're like, well, I mean, of course we have iTunes and we've got, the Spotify and all those things. But yeah, I mean, it's really weird as an artist to put out a song and not put out a physical release of it, but it's just the way it is now. You just can't really do it. Everything's digital now, and I guess Metallica was on top of that. They were like, no,
we don't want this.
All right, Brandall, I got to ask you this because my buddy George Grant said, make sure you ask Brandall about his photography.
Okay.
So he wanted to ask you about that, talk about your photography a little bit because he said it was pretty tasty.
Yeah. I think, like I said earlier, we're 90s skateboard kids. So every kid growing up has a, video camera for skateboarding. It's just what you do. And I think from there, it kind of, a few years back, I was doing, like 3 years ago, I was doing construction full time. So it was like doing floor work, traveling all the time. I would do like 4-hour drives, work for 8 to 10 hours, and then 4-hour drive home.
Good Lord.
And it was a long time. I did that 13 years. And I just kind of one day got tired of it and started taking my little camera that cost like $200, filming skateboarding, and switched it to a little mode and tried to do something a little different. And from there, it was like within a couple months, I was just already going, doing my thing. I was able to quit. I think it was like, 9 months or something. I was able to quit my job and just go do that full time. And it's been fun. And it's weird because that's what I do for a living, but we don't do music videos. So, yeah, I think it's kind of like that, like a tattoo artist doesn't get tattooed kind of deal,
Yeah.
Quickest way to not get tattooed, become a tattoo artist.
Yeah. Quickest way to not get music videos is to shoot music videos.
As always.
If you didn't do that professionally, we would already have you filming it.
Yeah. But no, I'm too tired doing it for my job than it is, to do it otherwise. But yeah, I mean, like it's cool. I think, tattooing, filming, it's another artistic creative outlet. Like, I'm not an artist. I don't draw. I don't do anything like that, but I get to, express myself, what I see when I'm doing things, and try to make my own song out of it. And to me, the way I do things, it's kind of like making a song. Like every time I put out 1-minute video on Instagram or something, I try to make it's got an atmosphere to it. It's back to that. It's back to finding an atmosphere and moving in that kind of deal. So, and even with like his tattoo shop, it's like, he's not just going to make a tattoo shop. You got to walk in and it's like an atmosphere, it's got to be, there's brick on the walls, there's gold frames everywhere. It's got to be an atmosphere. And I think no matter what we do, silent horror kind of piles into every single thing we do, whether it's, our hobbies or jobs, anything like that. And I think it's super cool to be able to use that throughout the spectrum of things we do.
I got to say, man, I've been a big supporter of you guys for a very long time. And you always have support on here for me because I support just about anybody and everybody almost. And I wish you guys nothing but the best of luck. You're always welcome on here, guys.
Yeah, man, we appreciate it. And again, we'd love to do an acoustic show for sure.
We're going to do that. I got you down. Trust me. I've got you down.
Yeah.
How can folks stay in touch with you guys, buy some merchandise, all that good stuff, silent horror wise? How can they do that?
You can go follow us on Instagram. It's just going to be Silent Horror Punk. And then you can go to our website. We have t-shirts, we have vinyl, we have everything. We have pins, you name it, it's on there.
Ray guns.
We have ray guns, sci-fi things. We have vintage pins. We have it all. If you go to silenthorrorband.com, it's on there. And you can follow us on Facebook, Silent Horror. It's pretty much the places we fly around at.
And before I let you guys go, I want to get you to do me a promo on here so that way I can have for my promos to play sometimes.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Let's promo it.
Oh, just introduce yourselves. After that, say you're just a silent horror and you're listening to Bod's Mayhem Hour.
Okay, here we go. What's going on, guys? I'm Brandall.
I'm Brent.
And we're from the band Silent Horror, and you're listening to Bod's Mayhem Hour.
There you go, folks. Get out and check out Silent Horror. Support these guys. and glad to have them on here. There's a little
Hey,
tardy.
man.
Well,
thank you. I'm a tech guy and I'm not tech savvy, so got that.
we won't give them detention or anything, so it's like this time.
We appreciate it, man. We really do.
Yeah.
Not a problem whatsoever.
It's been awesome being able to talk with you for, God, it's almost been 10 years now that we've been chatting back and forth and stuff. So I really do appreciate the support, from every different genre or, recreation of this band that we've gone through since, you've known of us. And it means a lot to us for sure.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize on how many bands I've supported and what I've done for the horror folks, man, are my family. I mean, you guys are my family. We're all a big community, and I don't take this lightly. I honestly, I don't care if they're a local band or not. I still absolutely treat them just like they're a national band. That does not matter.
Well, we appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Not a problem, guys. And we'll get in touch. I'll be in touch with you, Brandall.
Okay. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. Folks, I'm going to go over I'm going to review Alice in Chains, Jerry Cantrell's new solo album, Brighten. I'm going to review that here in just a few moments. But guys, thank you so much for being on here.
Peace. See ya.
See you guys. That was Silent Horror. That was Brandall Rector and Brent Hajny. So get out and check out Silent Horror. They got some really good music out there, folks. And I'm going to go over the Alice in Chains, Jerry Cantrell's new solo album right fast. And then I'm going to be out of here. So everybody who's out there listening, I thank you all so much. It means a lot to me. I don't care if there's 2 people listening. I don't care if there's 100,000 people that's listening to me. It all means the same to me. It all means everything to me. So we're going to go over this right now. So Brighten is the 3rd solo album by Alice in Chains guitarist and vocalist Jerry Cantrell. It was released on October 29th, and it is Cantrell's first independent album. The first single was released on July 29th, which is entitled Atone, and the second single, Brighten, was released on September 10th. This was produced by Jerry Cantrell himself and Tyler Bates. It's a 9-track album, and if you got Spotify, Pandora, whatever, check it out. Pick up the album too. I'm a CD guy. I know a lot of people are vinyl guys, gals. I like CDs, and that's what I stay true to. I do like cassettes still too. I mean, I would buy cassettes if I could. But I do have a subscription to Spotify. I do listen to Spotify. So I mean, it's every day I'm listening to some type of music on some type of platform, except for vinyl. I just don't have vinyl. So anyway, the first track is Atone. Second track is Brighten. Third is Prism of Doubt. Fourth is Black Hearts and Evil Done. Fifth is Siren Song. Sixth is Had to Know. Seventh is Nobody Breaks You. 8 is Dismembered. And 9 is Goodbye. My 3 favorite tracks off of this is Brighten, of course, Prism of Doubt, Black Hearts and Evil Done, and Siren Song. That's 4. That's 4. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, 4. Quit. Stop making fun of me. All right, that was 4. Great songs. Raw album for sure. This is Jerry Cantrell's. I mean, it's nothing like Alice in Chains. It's a little more rockish. It's not, heavy or grungy style. There's a few songs on here that's grungy, but this is a very solid album. It's a very good, solid album. If you like what Alice in Chains have done, pick this album up. If you like Jerry Cantrell's other stuff, pick it up, man. I mean, this is a great, great album for him. And I wish there was another album I could compare this to, but I just don't have another album I can think of that I could compare this to right now. This is an album that can stand alone by itself. So this is a very, very good album from top to bottom. Just give it a listen. If you got, like I said, if you got Pandora, Spotify, or whatever, give it a whirl, listen to it. I think you guys will dig it, actually. So that's it for me. I would, like I said, my favorite ones on here is Brighten, Prism of Doubt, Black Hearts and Evil Done, and Siren Song. Very, very good album. So, folks, I appreciate you guys tremendously. And Christmas is coming up, which will be next Friday. Next Friday's Christmas Eve. So Christmas Day is next Saturday. I want to wish each and every single one of you guys and gals a very, very Merry Christmas. and I hope everything's good. And everybody stay safe. There will be no Bod's Mayhem Hour podcast next Friday, and I have a new podcast that I do on Tuesday nights. It's a new paranormal podcast. It's called Beyond the Paranormal, and I have a YouTube page for that. So go and subscribe to that. Also, get out and subscribe to Bod's Mayhem Hour YouTube page, because we have a lot of stuff that's going up there, and I'm still slacking on a lot of old interviews to post up there to the podcast site and plus the YouTube, but I will, guys. Trust me, I will get that out there. If you want to support the Tornado Relief Fund and the victims of the Mayfield tornado that happened December 11th here that happened in Western Kentucky, Mayfield, Kentucky, please go to teamwkrelieffund.ky.gov. That's teamwkrelieffund.ky.gov. And please support these folks, because, like I said, this is just a horrible, horrible thing to happen to anybody, anywhere. And this tornado wreaked havoc and destruction, not just in Kentucky, but I think Alabama, Tennessee, I think maybe, was it Georgia? Maybe, I don't know. There's 3 or 4 states that was hit by this, and it's devastating, devastating. Folks, thank you all for tuning in. As always, I appreciate each and every single one of you all. Thank you all so much, and come back in January. We'll have some good stuff. Monday on the upload podcast, I should say, we're going to have Clay Dieters of The Issue, so check that out. That's coming out, and we got lots of more stuff coming down the pipe for Bod's Mayhem Hour and Beyond the Paranormal. Thanks, guys and gals. Have a good weekend. Have a good Christmas. Eat a lot of turkey for me. Say a prayer for me, whatever. And thanks. See you all later.